Apple launching its iOS 18.2 update today. How will that impact trends in iPhone demand and sales? For more, we're going to bring in now Ben Bajarin, CEO and Principal Analyst at Creative Strategies. Ben, it is always good to have you on the show. So let's talk about Apple's latest software update. Ben, this does feel like a more meaningful one, right? This idea you're going to bring now ChatGPT to the iPhone. Walk us through this, what this means for the user, Ben. How important is it, and how much is it going to actually improve the user experience?
Yeah, and I think it's far beyond, right, just ChatGPT. I think there's a lot of Apple proprietary experiences in Apple Intelligence, things that they hope make things more useful to people. And really, I think when you look at their communicated strategy, as well as many of the features that they're showing in social media and some advertisements, it's really about just functionality, right? I mean, I think people starting to use basic things, right, in email: summarize, rewrite, proofread. These are basic functions that to some degree are more meaningful than just a UI update, right, to some software. So I think the hope is really on the promise of the upside of helping people do more with these products. We're still waiting on future updates to come with a more advanced Siri and some more sophisticated features. But really, at the end of the day, this is something Apple wants to include in operating systems going forward. They're going to design hardware around these features, and I think they just continue to hope that it helps people use these devices more to their fullest and have the best experience using them.
And Ben, though, when people hear these headlines and they watch these interviews and they hear about ChatGPT is coming to the iPhone, is that the kind of news, is that the kind of feature, Ben, that you think perhaps motivates folks to upgrade?
I mean, I wouldn't say just on ChatGPT. I think the reason that brand gets pushed a lot is just simply because there's a lot of people using it regularly, right? So your normal kind of consumers who are exposed to that brand, who might use it, who might even pay for it, they'll view that as a great feature upgrade because they're already familiar with the brand and using ChatGPT to some degree. But whether that's the gateway or email's the gateway or Genmoji's the gateway, like the reality is they just want you to start somewhere and then expand from there, because for a lot of this is really a brand new type of experience, right? Using AI integrated on our devices is not something that's been normal, to humans using technology for a long period of time. And the reality is now that it's front and center, they want to keep deepening their experience with those features and hope that people really like them. And again, it just makes iOS and Apple's ecosystem more sticky. That's I think the end goal.
When we last spoke, Ben, I feel like and I asked you about this iPhone upgrade cycle. You didn't think it was going to be that dramatic, that explosive. Is that still true, or am I misremembering?
No, you're right. I think this super cycle term gets thrown around. I mean, I'm just still of the strong conviction that hardware changes, design changes drive those super cycles, not software. I do still think this is going to be a stronger than normal upgrade cycle, only because we've known that this is an aging base, something that you and I have talked about a lot. We know that there's a good percentage of people of the iPhone base that are just due for a solid upgrade. I think people with an iPhone 12 or later are starting to see some of the slowness of those devices because they are aged, and I think that's going to help drive a good portion of that aged base to upgrade, which is a significant number than years past. But I don't think we're going to see this quote unquote stronger cycle because of Apple Intelligence. I think it helps, but I don't think it's because of that. I think there's just a lot of people who need to upgrade, and that alone is going to lead to a great year for iPhone.
Going back to ChatGPT, Ben, just for a sec, there are all these reports out there that Apple actually isn't paying OpenAI for this partnership. So what is Sam Altman and OpenAI actually getting out of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, right, this comes back to the early advantage or the early mover type of strategy. I think OpenAI, again, they're not Google. Like, in no way, shape, or form are they brand recognized or used as much as Google. So you could see how the differences of this deal between a Google for search and ChatGPT and OpenAI for other features, when OpenAI just wants to become the default. They want ChatGPT to be the default a generative AI tool that people use to search information and help them go about their day to day. And so it behooves them to get as many people as possible committed, addicted, dependent on ChatGPT. And I think they want to use this integration with iPhone as a mechanism to do that.
And so looking ahead, Ben, I'm just curious, do you think it's going to be just OpenAI, or no, you think Apple partners with other models as well?
Yeah, I think at some point in time, Apple's wise to partner with others and give model of choice. I think ChatGPT is going to remain the dominant default position today. Every bit of research we see continues to show that that is the most used service by everyday consumers. But there's a lot of competition, and I think it'd be wise to make sure that Apple supports whatever vendor they want. Now, they might not have the same level of integration as ChatGPT. I think that's a question. But the idea that sort of like you can still actually pick your search engine on iPhone, that you might be able to pick your generative AI partner, whatever works best for you, I would imagine that will come to iOS at some point in time.
Ben, we're always lucky to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you again. Thanks for having me.